So in this question here, the guessing game, I'll just explain it a little bit to you. Now, it's two people playing it on the same interface. So one person's going to type in a number, and then the second person is going to then put some guesses in. So it's a bit silly as an idea for an actual game, because you probably see the other person type the number in and you still see it on the screen on the right hand side. But let's just imagine that that's not the case. So the first player comes along, they type in a number, has to be between 1 and 10. So that means we're going to be thinking about doing some checking and validation of the input. Player 2 can then have some guesses. Player 2 gets up to 5 attempts. So we're going to have some kind of looping there. So it's going to have to stop at 5, but it could stop before 5 as well if they get it right. So we need to think about what kind of loop we're going to have there, a for loop or a while loop. And then we've got two outputs. So if player 2 wins the game correctly, then it outputs player 2 wins. If player 2 is unable to guess after 5 tries, player 1 wins, and it says player 1 wins there. So that's it. It's quite simple. So an input from player 1, a guess from player 2, another guess, player 2 keeps guessing, and then we get some outputs there. Now, the second bit is just telling you what identifiers to use. So an identifier, the term is just the name of a variable. So we're going to have a variable called number to guess. It's going to be an integer, number of guesses, and guess. And you might have some other ones in there. So that's the problem. Let's switch straight over to our IPSO. So think about our inputs. So our inputs were quite straightforward. We've got 2. So in here we have the player 1 number to guess. Player 1 number to guess, and we want that to be an integer. We're also going to have player 2 guesses, and they will also be integers. The process is quite straightforward, weren't they? So we had to validate number to guess, and that between 1 to 10, and we're going to count the guesses, and we're going to check for a match. Okay, once we start writing like this, it seems a lot simpler. In terms of storage, what do we want to store on there? So in terms of storage, I want the number of guesses as a variable. We want the guess. And there was something else, wasn't there? What else were they asking us to do? So let's go back to the tab there. It was number to guess, number of guesses, and guess. So number of guesses, number to guess, and guess. And we know that the data types of those are going to be int. So these are just going to variables, int and integer. And then the output is going to be player 1 wins or player 2 wins. Okay, so that is our IPSO. So it's a simple program, there's not much in that, but it's getting us into the habit of thinking about what an IPSO does, what an IPSO looks like. And when you do your NEA soon, you're going to have a big IPSO with so many things that are going on in terms of the project you're trying to do. So to be able to break it down like this is really useful. Okay, I'm going to stop there and give you another video about the coding. Okay.